It is a known fact that the lack of vision significantly affects all aspects of learning. The unique implications of visual impairment are: the loss of vision can result in delayed concept development, which, without effective and timely intervention, significantly impacts the individual's social, emotional, academic and vocational development. Students with visual impairment acquire information through alternate mediums, that is, by using other remaining senses. Individualized instruction works more with students with visual impairment, since group instruction for learning specialized skills may not be provided in a meaningful manner. Students with visual impairment often require specialized skills, which are known as plus curricular skills or expanded core curricular skills, as well as specialized books, materials and equipment for learning through alternate modes. Students with visual impairment have limited access to acquire information through incidental learning, since they are often unaware of subtle activities in their environment. Curriculum areas such as concept development, academic functioning, communication skills, sensory motor skills, social and emotional skills, orientation and mobility, daily living skills, career or occasional skills and utilization of low vision require unique and diverse strategies or adaptations for students with visual impairment. Sighted children acquire rich experiences in a natural way and learn the experience as a whole. The knowledge acquisition is very quick among the sighted children than the visually impaired children, as they learn through various experiences. But the learning of visually impaired children is in pieces of information, and the child has to perceive an idea through structure rather than form, as in the case of sighted children. Concepts are formed as a result of all incoming sensory information and perceptions being processed and combined in the brain. The range and variety of experiences forms the basis of concept development. As and when new information is gathered, concepts keep changing constantly. The lack of vision limits the opportunity for first-hand experience. Hence, concept development occurs at a slower pace than sighted peers. Some areas of development seem to be affected more than others. This has implications across formal and informal learning experiences right from home to school. The areas that require special teaching in the school setting may include concept of space, knowledge about self, numbers, classification, time, logical thinking and problem solving. For example, body concepts and knowledge about time may be slow to develop. Research has shown that poor body image can result in poor self-concept and self-confidence. Accurate and appropriate spatial concepts develop from appropriate body concepts. This helps in forming an essential component to understanding the world. Specifically, students who are blind may need to develop accurate spatial concepts, as this is essential to independent and meaningful movement. While sighted students learn spatial concepts incidentally, specific programs should be planned and implemented to provide learning opportunities for students with vision impairment. Experience with concrete items is necessary for students with visual impairment, and the development of some concepts seem to occur very late than sighted peers. Hence, additional time is required to provide students with a range of experiences necessary for learning concepts. Concept formation is the basic aspects of all types of learning. Human beings right from infancy to old age, learn new concepts and add them to the concepts already developed by them and use them in tackling problem in an unknown situation. In fact, the taxonomy of educational objectives are based on the fundamental concepts that true learning happens only when the knowledge is translated into understanding leading to application. Therefore, what is understood becomes more important than what is known. In this context, development of proper concept development should be one of the fundamental objectives of classroom learning. Concepts are important because they determine what one does. It will lead to positive actions in the form of acceptance and seeking child's mental and social development are very much influenced and controlled by the adequacy or non-adequacy of his concept about things, persons, events and phenomena. His concept brings efficiency to thinking, reasoning and problem solving behavior and help him much in acquiring the knowledge and skill with ease. Concepts in a general way are results of our sensational and perceptual experiences. Senses are said to be the gateway of our knowledge. What is experienced through senses or sensations are given meanings, and the meaningful or objectified sensations become our perceptions about the things. One who perceives a number of objects eventually comes to recognize that they are in some ways alike or in other ways different from one another. Concepts are formed through a process of abstracting these similarities and differences. Then generalization is the process by which a quality so abstracted is referred to a number of similar objects. The philosopher John Dewey has offered some generalization about concept formation. Concepts enable us to generalize, to extend and carry over our understanding from one thing to another. Conceptions standardize our knowledge. Concept is developed by classifying or grouping objects or events with similar properties. Concepts may range from very concrete or real objects such as dog, table or cane to abstract or more intangible ideas such as beauty, love or justice. The steps involved in concept development involves 4 phases, namely perception, abstraction, generalization and discrimination. So, non-disabled children form concepts in their day-to-day life by continually coming across the particular concepts, class and then deciding that they are all linked by unifying attributes. The child normally acquires a number of broad concepts before entering school. The exact nature of these concepts will depend largely upon the nature of experience he has encountered at home. It is important to develop systematic methods for teaching concepts in order to determine which concepts to consider for instruction, how to assess these crucial concepts with individual students, what verbal and manipulative procedures best clarifies specific concepts for a particular student, and how to reinforce and generalize conceptual understanding once a concept is learned in specific instructional setting. A research study conducted by Money indicated that the nature of environment too influences the quality of concept development. His study supports that certain concepts are understood by the students even before entering the school. Concepts that are not fully comprehended in visual terms undoubtedly outnumber those that require any other sense modality such as auditory and tactual. Therefore, it is evident that visually impaired children are naturally deprived of this development. Generally, most of the concept development by the sighted individuals is through visual experiences. The visual ideas can be modified to non-visual ideas which promote effective learning of the children with visual impairment. Vision plays the most significant role in servicing as unifying and structuring sense. In developing the concept of the world, the children with visual impairment depend upon the use of their remaining senses. Touch and kinesthetic experiences as well as audition are the most essential sensory avenues used for this purpose, whereas vision gives details of form, size, colors and spatial relationship of subjects. Audition gives clues of distance and direction provided the object makes any particular sound. Non-visual experience refers to the process of providing non-visual ideas for visual ideas in a meaningful, accessible manner. It means the content given in the textbook, which is mostly visually presented, such as pictures, diagrams, maps, are converted into tactual form without changing the basic concept. Through direct experiences, the visually impaired children build up their conception of the world by the use of remaining senses. Senses are considered as the gateways of knowledge, and in general learning takes place through sensory modalities. The children with vision loss rely most exclusively upon tactual and auditory perceptions and kinesthetic experiences. Visually impaired children, due to loss of visual perception, always demand for stimulation of other remaining senses. The special educator employs multi-sensory approach which includes non-visual experiences to compensate visual ideas. The first sense we should know about is hearing sense. Though visual impairment is certainly a major sensory impairment, children with visual impairment acquire knowledge by making use of their non-visual senses such as hearing and touch. The main function of hearing sense is it functions as a medium of verbal communication since much information is communicated through language. Visual impairment does not put the individual at a considerable disadvantage in this aspect. The visually impaired child who hears the barking sound of a dog may understand with more or less accuracy about the direction and distance of the source of sound, but simply listening will not give him any idea of the form or shape of the animal body or of its size and other physical characteristics, perception of the spatial qualities of objects if sight is lacking. This can only be attained by touch, in which kinesthetic sensation participate. Hence, providing non-visual experience to visual ideas become vital. The visually impaired students should develop the ability to localize sound in terms of its direction, distance and source, and whether the sound source is moving or not. Once the position of the sound is established, the individual should decide to move toward or away from it. For example, on locating the sound of the flowing river, he may be away from it for reasons of safety or move towards it for bathing and washing. The concepts in mathematics, science and social studies are learnt mostly by listening to the lecture of the teacher. Mathematics makes use of power of imagination and critical thinking. As the power of imagination has little to do with the senses, lack of vision should not restrict visually impaired students from learning abstract concepts. The next sense is tactile sense. Visually impaired students learn concepts such as space, surface quality, texture, weight and temperature through tactile sense. These visually impaired students are able to gain education in all subject areas to a larger extent. Audition does not assist in gaining concrete ideas of objects. As such, visually impaired children gains knowledge of the spatial qualities of objects only by tactual observation. Since touch requires direct contact with the object to be observed, visually impaired children often gain a partial knowledge of objects that they cannot observe in total. Also, the sense of touch generally functions only if it actively employs for the purpose of cognition, whereas sense is active as long as the eyes are open. A visually impaired child needs to learn systematically what a sighted child can pick up incidentally. The next sense is sense of smell. An individual gains useful information about the surroundings with the sense of smell. It helps him to identify various items in his environment. It is also useful for the orientation and mobility both indoor and outdoor. Through smell, one can establish the presence of particular animals in the vicinity. The sense of smell can also be helpful in avoiding mishaps. The smell of gas in the kitchen gives indication of leakage. The senses of smell as well as the sense of taste are helpful in carrying out activities of daily living such as cooking, eating and bathing. In fact, these could help the person to protect himself from eating a food item that is spoiled. The next important sense to be noted is kinesthetic sense. The response of the body to the external stimuli, termed as kinesthetic sense, allows a person to avail environmental information like heat, cold, rain and breeze. Next is touch and the remaining visual sense. Most children with visual impairment have residual vision which they can use for their daily course, but for those whose vision is significantly poor, they can use both touch and vision to explore the world. Initially, such children use touch. When they are trained to use vision, they learn concepts by touch first and then by vision. Upon proper vision training to use their residual vision, the children learn to use vision first to see the objects and confirm by touch. Once their visual efficiency is enhanced, they mostly use vision. These children should be provided visual efficiency training to develop functional skills such as attending an object, grasping, figure ground discrimination, visual closure, eye-hand coordination and eye-foot coordination. The majority of learning in infants and young children occurs through vision. Soon after the birth of an infant with visual impairment, family members become aware that their child does not respond to them in the same way as an infant who is with sight. In order to ensure a healthy parent-child relationship and emotional growth, early intervention is essential for both the child and the family. Vision is the primary sense upon which almost many of the conventional educational strategies are based. These strategies have to be modified to reflect the child's visual, auditory and tactile capabilities. A child having a severe visual loss can directly experience only what is within arm's reach and can be safely touched, and in most cases what can be heard. Hence, to ensure an appropriate educational rehabilitation, families and professionals in the field of special education should work together to bring the world of experience to the child in a meaningful manner. As the child grows, the absence of vision significantly limits understanding of the world. No other sense can stimulate curiosity, combine information or invite exploration in the same way or as efficiently and fully as vision. Students with visual impairment will be able to succeed at different rates and often in different sequences, provided they are given appropriate timely training. There must be significant intervention coordinated by an educational team to make sure that proper development does occur. It is important to remember that education goals for students with visual impairment are essentially the same as those of all students. The goals are effective communication, social competence, employability, and personal independence. In order to accomplish these goals, however, students with visual impairment require specific interventions and modifications of their educational programs. An appropriate assessment of these unique educational needs in all areas related to the disability and instruction adapted to meet these needs is essential to ensure appropriate educational programming. The more intensive and unique needs associated with visual impairment must also be addressed in educating students who are visually impaired and have one or more additional disabilities. The education of students with multiple disabilities or other special needs must involve a team approach combining the expertise of specialists to competently address the complex needs of these students. Educators of students with visual impairment possess unique competencies needed by the team. Therefore, to achieve quality education for students with multiple disabilities or other special needs, services must be provided using a team approach including members with disability specific expertise in educating students with visual impairment. The unique educational needs of all students with visual impairment cannot be met in a single environment even with unlimited funding. It is critical that a team approach be used in identifying and meeting these needs, and that team must include staff who have specific expertise in educating students with visual impairment. Since concept development is a vast area, the learners must be provided with ample opportunities and experience through better approaches and special techniques. The most efficient way of building concept is to have the learner experience the object directly. In trying to arrive at an idea of what a cow is, for example, we find no substitute for seeing, touching, listening to, and smelling a real cow. When something cannot be experienced directly, it must be experienced indirectly. The best way to understand what a revolution is would be to live through one. But since the teacher is prohibited from organizing a revolution even for educational purposes, she does the next best thing. She does it through vivid description using books, pictures, movies, and other materials. The children can formulate concepts by using the inductive and deductive procedures. In the inductive approach, a number of concrete examples are shown, allowing the student to build up the concept. The deductive procedure begins by giving the student an idea of the common properties of the objects by means of a drawing or a definition. The individual must be able to identify the particular members of the class later. A child can form the concepts of a noun or an adjective or a verb by using both these methods. Students prefer to memorize definitions that are presented at the beginning of a unit without having a real understanding of the concept. Rote memorization should be discouraged as it leads to formation of wrong or meaningless concepts. Language is an important tool in the formation of concept. Through the proper use of language, concepts are developed and communicated. Concepts like ocean, giraffe, serpent are formed by a direct experience or by relating them to a known idea. Thus, the maxim from known to unknown is useful in such cases. Vocabulary is the means through which concepts are verbalized. Enhancing vocabulary among students with visual impairment is considered as necessary for building up of concept. Lowenfeld recommends individualization, concreteness, stimulation, unified instruction and additional self-activity as the special methodology of the education of the visually impaired. These areas warrant systematic development of ideas. In a child with sight, concept is formed through the stages of concrete presentation, pictorial understanding and abstract interpretation. When the children are young, concretization is necessary for developing the proper concept. Once such concepts are developed, the individual recalls its nature at a later stage by just looking at the pictorial form of that concept. This understanding helps the formation of concept eventually and to recall the concepts uttered orally. Children with visual impairment who lack vision miss out many intervening steps in the formation of a concept. Therefore, they have to be given adequate experience in the area of concept development so that they develop the right type of ideas rather than distorted concepts. Therefore, children with visual impairment require more attention than their sighted peers in the area of concept development because of their missing sensorial links in the formation of concepts. So, today we have discussed about how the visual ideas can be converted into non-visual experiences for students with visual impairment. Thank you.